Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, ancestrylands.com. Headed to the Sheraton Hotel, Bucks Hotel, for a conference related to my nursing job. Title of this video, Life is Not Free. Life is not guaranteed. Heading through the King of Prussia area this morning, you can see the sunrise on the East Coast. This is not me doing any kind of filter. This is actually how the skyline looks right now. Forgive me as I'm going over tons of road. I'm going to be taking the Pennsylvania Turnpike. If you have not ever been on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, speed limit is actually 70 miles per hour. So we're going to see it booking and cooking here. Life is not free. When I say life is not free, what does that mean to you? In the sense that, like I've said before, the Economic Institute of Wealth and Poverty has said that by 2053, African American wealth will be a net zero. I was listening to other social media content creators and even a news article on Yahoo talking about this UBI experiment that they've done, where they gave people two control groups, one $1,000 a month and one $50 a month for 3 years. In that group, the $1,000 a month, they found that people were de-incentivized to work and be, extra, produce more than what they needed for life, instead of just going to a job, working and paying your bills, which is just taking care of the bare necessities. The overproduction of income leads to you investing outside of, match employee contribution matches from your actual paycheck. If one of the things I always say about life not being free is that people make the mistake and think that your 9 to 5 job will take care of you into retirement. Your 9 to 5 job is set up to give you the option of investing along, because they're doing the work for you. But it doesn't mean they'll do the work for you. They're just doing the work for you. They're doing the initial investment as far as taking your money and allocating it towards whatever 401k, 403b, or pension plan that they might have available for you being an employee. But that does not mean that they're directing it towards the goals of your needs in retirement. That your needs in retirement are not being managed and maintained financially with the analysis of whether it's appropriate or not by anybody in the company that you work for. So that doesn't mean that you're guaranteed a secured retirement or a secured income in your later years in life. It's not a guarantee, and that's what people make the mistake of. They think it's all a guarantee because you have these things in place, but even those things that are in place are managed by someone else. That's one of the things that we don't understand about this life we live in. I have a 401k, I've got a pension plan. Well, the pension plans are managed by fund managers and hedge managers who can, and they do, lose money, and sometimes pensions become bankrupt. Then what do you do when that doesn't work out? In the words of Mike Tyson, everybody's got a plan until they're punched or knocked out. What do you have in place when you counted on just the pension being there for you? I mean, if you think that's not a possibility, look at these government debts, these run-ups on debts that they have. Where do you think they're going to start looking at taking the money from? State of California? They're going to take it out of these pension funds. So it's not always a guarantee. And again, life is not free to the uneducated. Life is not free even to the millionaires. A lot of people think that, oh, I'm going to just get into retirement and then I don't have to work anymore. Well, you may not have to work, but you're going to have to work on maintaining your income at a level that you can support yourself for however long you plan on living. You retire at 65 and you live until 95. I had a grandmother, she just passed away maybe about 5-6 years ago. She was 92. You retire at 65, you got to live, 27 years? That's almost 3 decades. Do you have enough income to support yourself for 30 years? And that's what people are not accounting for, because it's easier to just bow out than it is to buckle down. That's what I'm saying. Life is not free. Stupidity does cost you in the end. Absent-mindedness does have a price. I told my daughter one day when she did something and she did, it was an accident and my son got hurt, my younger son, her 2-year-old brother. And I said that to my wife all the time, who says, accidents, oh, it's an accident. And an accident excuses the responsibility of the person who caused the injury. Yeah, if I get into an accident and rear end somebody because I got rear ended, that does not mean that I do not have the responsibility of making sure that I maintain good car distance between my car and the car in front of me. That is the responsibility of each driver. And again, I told my wife, I said that as my son sat there crying and I tried to control my rage, I said that, yes, while it is an accident, it does not excuse the fact that he's now in pain. When you say it's an accident, you absolve my daughter, our daughter, of any responsibility to feel guilt or any responsibility to make a change because it was an accident. Like, it just washes your sins away. Which maybe religion has something to do with that, because again, we always say you could just ask for forgiveness and there's no price. You're just absolved. They did that trick back in the day. You could go out there and, go through and erase an entire community. You can go ahead and violate tenets of the commandment, and all of a sudden now there's still no price to pay because you believe. It's an easy thing to gravitate towards too, because again, it doesn't hold you responsible for anything. And that's the part that I'll keep talking about. It's not free. You're not free from responsibility. And I told my wife, you need to be conscious of that, because again, the pain caused by her, that her brother's in now, the injury he sustained, a minor injury, but it's a teachable moment. Don't teach her that just saying it is an accident absolves her of any responsibility to be accountable for what she's done. And that's what ends up happening. People lose that accountability because you can just say it's an accident and your sins are washed away. It's not a religious video. We're making a metaphor here. Analogies are being built up. And life is not free in the same way. I'm going to go back to that central point that your stupidity in life, your inability to build assets, to ignore videos like this, your inability to build assets in the form of land ownership, your inability to gain knowledge by reading my book, Getting Dollars from Dirt, your inabilities to see more than just what is in front of you and beyond you will also have a price. You will be responsible and held accountable, even if you don't will it. And that accountability will be evidenced in the lifestyle that you live. It'll be held accountable in the lack of resources that you will be able to obtain. You'll be held accountable in the form that when you get into your older age, you'll be on the system, and you will have the lack of availability of support systems in place when you need it most. Those things will become more evident. When you do things in life, they have a price that's paid no matter what happens. And most of us are not willing to pay a price. We want to do the deed, but we don't want to pay the price for the deed. And that's the issue. And I'm going to tell you now, what you need to do is start getting yourself educated. Take time out of your life, outside of your job, outside of work. Come home tired, good. Then become. If you're tired from work, then you need to be exhausted. If you're exhausted, then you need to be literally what's after exhausted. Then you need to be running on octane. You need to be burning fumes, right? You need to be burning. You need to be burning metal at that point. That's what needs to be happening. If there's no more fuel in your fire, then the furnace needs to burn. That's the level of exhaustion that you need to have to build up skills and do things outside of your job. When you come home at night, it's time to go to work again. I told my wife a long time ago when we dated, she's like, why do you take things so serious? Why is everything always business in this? I said, when do you switch to everything's all right, let's just have fun? When do you switch to the next mode? When do you start to turn up in life? When do you start to get serious? When does that happen? Because most of the people who are playing around in life, all fun and games, kiki and haha, they never know when to turn it off and when to turn the on switch to buckling down and going to work. Most people I've seen are in debt. They stay in debt and they don't make any changes. They don't start buckling down and starting a savings. They don't do that. They don't ever switch that gear. Now, I know how to go out on Saturday, but on Sunday it was time to get the studying done. And that's the problem. We don't know how to shut it down. If you've been watching this video and taking notice, you will see the lovely foliage. Since I leave this video on this part, you'll see how beautiful it is in fall before winter comes. This is one thing that I love most about the East Coast, and I've missed it dearly, is the beautiful foliage. If you look at these trees out here, these purples, pinks, maroon, burgundy, this is the fall, the true essence of what the Northeast has to offer that I love very dearly and very much. See the trees, the yellow, the skyline. It's a beautiful season which you can enjoy, which we do enjoy. It's beautiful just to be out driving and looking at the foliage, the trees. Life is not free, folks. Remember that. Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, ancestrylands.com. Peace and love.